Hey y'all, this is Toad Racer and I'm going to show y'all how to play the second version of Tumblefolk Tempest. So what you're looking at here is a magical desert inhabited by what we call Tumblefolk, and the Tumblefolk naturally live inside these tumbleweed. And as you know, tumbleweed goes wherever the wind blows. And unfortunately in this case, in this particular desert, the wind has a tendency to blow directly towards this giant cactus patch here. Now, clearly a prickly cactus patch is no place for a poor Tumblefolk, so our job as Nimbus is to use our wind powers to redirect the Tumblefolk into these magical vacuum tubes, which will take the Tumblefolk someplace nicer than a cactus patch. Now, on each turn, you're allowed to draw one wind tether, as I did on the previous turn, which connects two Tumblefolk together. So on the previous turn, see, I connected this Tumblefolk up here to this Tumblefolk right in front of the tube. Alright. Now, ordinarily, Tumblefolk will move straight towards the cactus patch because that's where the wind's blowing. But if you use a wind tether, you can change the direction the Tumblefolk move to go wherever you want. So now these two Tumblefolk here that are on the back of the wind tether, they will move along the wind tether rather than moving straight towards the cactus patch, whereas all the other Tumblefolk here will move straight towards the cactus patch. So see, now when I end the turn, you can see that. And so see, now I've got two Tumblefolk inside this pink area in front of the tube. We call it the tube's AoE, area of effect. And if on the beginning of your turn you have Tumblefolk inside the pink area, you can save them by pressing Q. Alright, so see, I just press Q and the Tumblefolk inside the pink area got sucked down the tube. Now I'm going to undo this so you can see it again. And notice this time when I do, I get points for each Tumblefolk I saved. So there's 3 faces in here that I save, and I'm going to get 3 points. Now let me undo it again and show you something else. Now when I do this, notice that this energy counter here goes from 7 to 6. And that's going to happen every time you activate a portal. And so your goal is to get as many points or to save as many Tumblefolk as possible before you run out of energy here. Okay, now let me undo that again and show you one last thing. Alright, so notice this tube on the left here is currently dormant. It's closed. It's got the gray AoE out in front. You can't save Tumblefolk with this portal, with this tube right now, or at the moment. But when I press Q to activate this tube on the right side, the left tube suddenly becomes active itself. And now the right tube is dormant, the one that's dormant. Alright, so that's going to happen every time that you activate one of the tubes. The active one is going to switch sides. Now, there's a catch here, is that you can't let the Tumblefolk die. If the Tumblefolk die, then you will lose energy. So if I let this Tumblefolk up here on the top left hit the cactus patch, then you'll notice that our energy will drop from 6 to 5, alright, like it did. And you'll also notice that the active portal now switches to the right side. Alright? So you don't want to let the Tumblefolk die. You can't let them die or you'll lose faster. Okay? Now, there's another way, or there's some other things you can do. Alright? So if I draw the wind right, then I can get the Tumblefolk to merge together. So I'm going to make these two Tumblefolk merge together due to the way I drew that wind tether. And if you count them beforehand, we have 1, 2, 3 faces. And after the merge, we have 1, 2, 3 faces, except they're all in one space now. And you'll notice that we also have a fancy flag up here with an icon in it. Now, the icons have a couple important pieces of information on them. The first important piece of information is the flags have an important piece of information. The first piece of information the flag has is its icon. Now the icon tells you what tribe the Tumblefolk is a part of. Okay, so this and each tribe requires special treatment to save them. All right, you can't save them as easily as you can save the other Tumblefolk. Now this Tumblefolk here is a part of the edgy tribe, and what that means is that you can only save it if it's on either the very leftmost column or the very rightmost column. Okay, so we'll be able to save this one now by moving it into the leftmost column of this portal over here. Now I'm just trying to avoid killing these other Tumblefolk right now. But if I switch the active portal back over to the left side here, then at this moment I'm able to save this tribe folk, the edgy tribe folk, because they're on the leftmost column. So I save them like normal. Alright? But if we set it up so that, well, that's not going to work. But if it were the case that the tribe folk was instead on, okay, let me get it set up real quick. Well, that's not going to work out either. It's unfortunate. If it were the case that the tribe folk were on this space here when I activated the portal, they would not be saved because they're not on the edge. All right, and it's hard to set that up, but you can just imagine it. All right, and so the other piece of information that you have on the flags is the color. And so the color tells you stuff about seeds, and all right, so it tells you first of all what kind of seed the tribe produces. All right, so you see each of the Tumblefolk with no flag produces the basic green seed, but the Tumblefolk with the red flag produce this special seed, and the Tumblefolk with the blue flag produce no seed. All right, and so what matters about the seeds is that whenever you connect a tether to a Tumblefolk, it will drop whatever seed it produces or it's carrying at the moment. So when I connect this tether to this basic Tumblefolk, it drops its basic seed. If I connect it to the red tribe Tumblefolk, it drops the special seed. If I were to connect a tether to the blue Tumblefolk, it drops nothing because it produces nothing and it carries nothing. Now, what you want to do with these seeds is you want to collect them. So if I draw this tether to make the regular Tumblefolk drop its seed, and then the way I need to collect it is I need to get a red tribe Tumblefolk to move over top of it. Okay, so if I do that, then you'll see I've collected one seed, and this portal over here has grown from being size 1 to being size 2. That's what the seeds do. When you collect the seeds, they make your inactive portal grow. And now it's a little hard to see that because at the same time we have Tumblefolk dying here, which causes the active portal to switch, but that's what's going on. We're collecting the seed and we've grown our inactive portal range to 2. And so when we activate this portal, like that perhaps, it will be this size. So you want to get seeds so that you can jam more Tumblefolk into your portals. And so like I said, to collect a regular seed you need at least a red tribe. You can also do it with a blue tribe. And to collect a super seed, you have to collect it with the blue tribe. So you would have to get the blue tribe to walk over the super seed like the red tribe walked over the other seed earlier. Now it's kind of hard to set that up. That's one of the challenges of the game. But so I'll just leave that to your imagination for now. And the super seed, basically what's special about the super seed is it just gives you more extra range. Alright, so the super seed will give you 2 extra spaces of range, whereas the regular seed will give you 1 extra space of range. And now what determines what color the Tumblefolk's flag is how many faces it has in there. So 1 to 2 faces is no flag, 3 to 4 faces is red flag, and 5 faces is the blue flag. So the blue flag is the hardest to get. It's also the most useful for collecting because it can collect both kinds of seeds, and it can also collect abilities from these ability tiles here. Okay, and so see, and collection for abilities works basically the same way as for seeds, except you don't have to drop the abilities, they're just always there. So if I move this blue Tumblefolk over this ability here, which has this vacuum ability in it with this symbol, look, you'll see that the symbol goes into my inventory over onto the left. Alright, whenever the blue Tumblefolk hits it. And so now that it's in my inventory, I can use it by pressing 2, the key that corresponds to it. And so what this particular ability does is it brings 2 Tumblefolk together on the wind chain. So see, that was a bad move, but that's what this ability does in this case, is it brings these 2 Tumblefolk on the chain together and merges them. Now I could have used my other ability here, which is called Stack. And what it does is it will move Tumblefolk along the chain without merging them. So I see I can move them all the way to being adjacent to where I cast the spell at. And that one's called Stack. Now there's a lot of other abilities that do fancy things. You can sort of get a brief description of what they do by hovering over them, but I encourage you to experiment with them, or if you can't figure one out, just like ask me about it on the Discord, on the Dinofarm or Keith Burgund's Discord or something like that. And so that's pretty much all the main points, I believe. And so we've had a lot of fun making this game, and so I hope you'll have some fun playing it. And thanks for watching.